So what we're seeing is an expansion of the conflict by Iran in an attempt to destabilize the Middle East itself.
Now to the Middle East, where Houthi rebels hit a Norwegian tanker with a missile while it was passing through a narrow strait called the Gate of Grief. The attack caused a fire, but no one was hurt. The Houthis, meanwhile, who operate out of war-torn Yemen, have recently stepped up their missile attacks on Israel as well as on American ships. They are funded by Iran, and the Houthis' recent activity has raised fears that Israel's war with Hamas could spread to other countries. We're joined now by Kirk Lippold, who was commander of the USS Cole destroyer in 2000 when it was bombed while docked in Yemen. Commander Lippold, thanks for joining us here on Centerpoint.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you for having me on.
Well, Commander, you have firsthand experience of what it's like to be attacked in Yemen. In your case, it was with al-Qaeda. Explain to us who the Houthis are, and should we be paying a lot more attention to them?
I think you should. The Houthi rebels themselves went to war with the Yemeni government because they felt that they were being marginalized and that they, in fact, were not getting some of the same privileges. There's been a lot of turmoil in Yemen over the decades. They resolved the civil war in the early 1990s. Obviously, when USS Cole, my ship, pulled in on October 12, 2000 and was attacked, it was very clear that terrorists were alive and well in that country and operating with relative impunity. Since then, the Houthi rebels have destabilized the government, and it was just considered a country war, but it was essentially a proxy war between Saudi Arabia supporting the Yemen government, Iran supporting the Houthi rebels, but now Iran has seen that they can use the Houthi rebels to, in fact, act as one of their proxy groups to destabilize the southern Arabian Peninsula while the war with Israel and Hamas is going on. So what we're seeing is an expansion of the conflict by Iran in an attempt to destabilize the Middle East itself.
And Iran commanders are sitting back laughing at everything that's going on. The U.S. has retaliated against Iran-backed militias in Syria and Iraq. Why not the Houthis?
Well, I think at this point, what we're probably doing, Joe, to be quite honest, is developing a good strike package to know where are the Houthis operating from, where are their bases, where are their ammo dumps, where are their key logistics points and communications points, so that if we decide to get engaged in Yemen and, in fact, stop these Houthis from attacking international shipping in the Red Sea, the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, and that area and that region, or even aiming at our ships like USS Carney or USS Mason, that we're, in fact, going to be able to shut them down swiftly, quickly, and as efficiently as possible. So it's a matter of time. I'm sure the Joint Staff is working hard on doing this. But again, the Biden administration has been somewhat hesitant to react and respond to any of these attacks, with over 100 against the U.S., our forces, including the injuring of Americans. But essentially, the response has not served the purpose of deterrence, nor has it been proportional compared to the number of times we have been attacked.
Okay, so, Commander, you said the Biden administration is hesitant in attacking back. Do you think they fear disrupting that fragile truce with Yemen, that possibly they could start another war?
Well, I think an overriding concern with the Biden administration, unfortunately, is that they fear an expansion of the conflict. I think in some ways the Biden administration is trying to give the Israeli government the time and space they need to operationally destroy Hamas. That is the number one priority goal in the region right now. Once that objective has been completed, then I think you're going to see an opportunity for Israel to turn, perhaps take on Hezbollah, who is attacking from the north right now, but not fully engaging against Israel. By the same token, at some point, the United States and the world is going to have to face down the number one state sponsor of terrorism and aim for the correct target, and that is Iran. They are actively engaged in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, clearly in Yemen with the Houthi rebels, and at some point, having killed thousands of Americans over the last 40 years, we need to stop Iran doing what they're doing. We are not going to get a nuclear agreement that is going to keep the region or us or the world safe. That is gone. They've already enriched. And the bottom line is Iran and the Ayatollahs need to be confronted as the number one state sponsor of terrorism and stopped in their tracks.